The day they sealed my cabin gate was the day they sealed their own fate. 6 a.m., Delilah Peton watched as concrete swallowed my gateposts, her smirk saying she'd won our HOA war. What she didn't know, what none of them knew, was their fancy development had only one road to the highway. Every inch of that road ran through my land. While they trapped me in, they trapped themselves out. 47 families, one escape route, and I own every foot of it. 3 months later, she'd begged me not to leave him stranded forever. But right now, she felt untouchable. What would you do if someone sealed your driveway? This gets insane. I'm Marcus Brennan. 6 months ago, I thought losing my wife was the worst thing that could happen to me. Then I met my new neighbor. The inheritance and the invasion. I inherited 40 Montana acres from my grandfather, a rustic cabin, and one crucial detail. A private gravel road connected my land to Highway 12. The crunch of tires on that gravel was the soundtrack of my childhood summers. In 2019, developers built Pine View estates around me. 47 McMansions sold as luxury mountain living with convenient highway access. They forgot to mention that convenient access meant using my private road without permission. For 4 years, no one questioned it. Then Delilah Peton bought the biggest house and started her reign of terror. The tyrant arrives. At 49, Delilah was suburban tyranny personified. Designer yoga pants, a white BMW parked across 2 spaces, and a condescending smile while explaining how the world should bend to her vision. She became HOA president in 6 months, promising to protect property values from declining influences. My cabin workshop smelled of cedar and motor oil, scents that reminded me of my grandfather's hands teaching me to build things that lasted. After Sarah died 2 years ago, these weekends kept me functional. That peace lasted 14 days after Delilah's coronation. She appeared in my driveway, clipboard in hand, declaring my 1987 iron gate aesthetically incompatible with community vision. I politely explained my gate sat on private property, not under HOA jurisdiction. Her smile held, but her eyes went cold. Oh, sweetie, geography creates mutual responsibilities. The harassment begins. 2 weeks later, a county inspector arrived, investigating illegal structures. Someone had filed a complaint. He found nothing. Grandfather built everything to code, but the message was clear. At the next HOA meeting, Delilah had already spread rumors. I was difficult, unstable due to military trauma, and my gate created security vulnerabilities. The room smelled of cheap coffee and nervous sweat as newer residents avoided my eyes. But 20 years as an Army Corps engineer taught me about petty tyrants. They mistake volume for authority. Delilah was textbook. The war declares itself. The escalation came on a thick September evening. Delilah knocked, demanding I attend mandatory community meetings to discuss compliance obligations. I explained slowly, like to a child, that I wasn't an HOA member. She laughed. Geographic proximity creates legal obligations. Your little hermit act ends now. When I refused, she filed another county complaint claiming my road violated existing easement agreements. Pure fiction, but harassment disguised as bureaucracy. That night, surrounded by pine scent and Sarah's lavender candles, I opened grandfather's surveyor case. Brass instruments gleamed beside yellowed deeds. If the suburban dictator wanted war, she'd picked the wrong engineer. The trap springs. Delilah organized a community beautification committee, her yoga pants enforcers armed with measuring tapes and Pinterest dreams. My gate topped their hit list. The formal letter arrived on expensive letterhead. Mandatory appearance required in bold red. I was guilty of unauthorized rustic styling, failure to maintain aesthetic harmony, and my favorite, geographic noncompliance with community vision. I didn't show up. Her response was swift. She declared my gate a public nuisance and filed another complaint about mysterious easements. That's when I stopped playing defense. The discovery. In grandfather's workshop, surrounded by the musty smell of old leather, I found the truth. The 1987 deeds told a story Delilah never researched. My family had never granted any easement. The gravel road was entirely private, built, maintained, and owned by 3 generations of Brennans. Every car that used it for 4 years was trespassing. My Army buddy Jake, now a property rights lawyer in Helena, confirmed, "This is bulletproof. They have zero legal right. You could block access tomorrow." But I'd learned strategy. Sometimes you let your enemy think they're winning while preparing the perfect counterstrike. The offer and the rejection. I propose a generous solution, a formal easement for $1 per year, plus a mutual respect clause. The meeting happened in the sterile community center that smelled of carpet cleaner and stale coffee. Delilah scoffed. "You can't hold an entire neighborhood hostage over technicalities." She claimed 4 years of use created established community rights. The meeting ended with her promising consequences: the surveillance and the fraud. 2 days later, motion-activated cameras pointed at my property, my every movement documented. But Delilah's paranoia became my opportunity. While researching her camera permits, I discovered something. She'd been selling Pine View properties with promises of guaranteed highway access via community roads. Her marketing materials feature my private road labeled as community infrastructure. She was selling my property as an HOA amenity, and one buyer had already filed a complaint with the State Real Estate Commission about misrepresented access rights. The irony was beautiful. While Delilah hired lawyers to threaten me, she was under investigation for actual fraud. The concrete blunder. Saturday, 6:47 a.m. diesel engines rumbled down my road. 3 cement trucks, 6 workers, and Delilah orchestrating it all. She called an emergency HOA meeting, convincing the board my trail cameras were surveillance terrorism requiring temporary protective barriers. Now concrete sealed my gate. I asked the foreman about permits. Delilah waved dismissively. HOA maintenance doesn't require individual permits. I thanked each worker, slipping them $20 bills. Their confusion was beautiful. Then I made 3 calls. County building inspector, unpermitted barriers blocking emergency access. Jake, they just sealed my gate. My insurance adjuster, property damage in progress. The fatal flaw. Delilah's master plan had a catastrophic flaw. Those barriers didn't just block my access. They blocked everyone's. Pine View Estates had only one road to the outside world, and every inch crossed my property. By sealing the choke point, she created a suburban prison. At 7:30 a.m., Mrs. Patterson stared at her Civic facing 14 inches of clearance. At 7:45, the school bus driver radioed. Route 47 blocked by a wall. By 8 a.m., the parking lot was a stranded commuter camp. Delilah assumed I'd panic and pay to remove her barriers. Instead, I grabbed a lawn chair, cracked open a beer, and enjoyed the show. The nuclear option. While chaos unfolded, I found grandfather's 1987 developer agreement. Section 14, subsection C. Emergency access easement requires explicit written permission. If obstructed for 72-plus hours, developer shall pay penalty of $10,000 per day to landowner until access restored. The clause was meant to protect developers, but obligations transferred with the deed. Jake's reaction: "Holy, this is thermonuclear. They've been in breach since Saturday. Current penalty, $30,000 and climbing. HOA total assets, $40,000. At $10,000 per day, they'd be bankrupt by weekend, and board members were personally liable. Delilah had voted herself into bankruptcy. The confrontation. I walked outside, copies in hand, as stranded residents argued with Delilah. Delilah, I called. She turned with her shark smile. I handed her the agreement, pointing to Section 14. You've been in breach for 78 hours. Current penalty, $78,000. Your HOA's total assets, $40,000. The smile died. That's impossible. $10,000 per day compounding. You'll exceed assets by tonight. Personal liability kicks in after. For the first time, Delilah Peton had nothing to say. The aftermath. 3 months later. Concrete barriers. Gone. Delilah, facing 5 years for bribery, real estate license revoked. HOA paid me $137,000 in penalties plus $23,000 legal costs via emergency assessments, $3,400 per household. 3 properties foreclosed. Delilah's house sold at auction for 30 cents on the dollar. I used the money to establish a property rights scholarship at Montana State. Eleanor Martinez was elected HOA president unanimously. Board meetings became transparent, public gatherings. My gate remains, but now stands open most weekends. The road that caused conflict now hosts annual neighborhood BBQs. This story inspired the Montana HOA Accountability Act. 3 other states followed. The lesson: last month, a young veteran called about his own HOA dispute. I told him, bullies only win when good people don't know their rights. Do your homework, document everything, and let mathematics handle the revenge. If you survived an HOA nightmare, share your story. I read every one. Hit subscribe for more tales where regular people outsmart corrupt systems with research, patience, and the beautiful mathematics of property law. Next week, a landlord who thought he could steal a veteran security deposit. Spoiler, he was wrong about everything. Thanks for hanging out on HOA Stories, where Karens meet their match.